O'Donnell has it blocked. Into the end zone in a race. And a touchdown. Sam Williams blocked it. Kneeland the touchdown.
Well, you see Sam Williams, he just comes right up the gut. There's really not much resistance whatsoever. He's right there. They were close on a previous punt, and this time they're able to make a play. They've been needing a spark here in this first half. I mean, you see it hits off Williams' helmet.
And Kneeland won that race to the end zone.
That was a great job by them. A lot of times you get that many guys going to get the football and then scoots out of the back of the end zone.
Tonight, a shocking loss rocking the NFL. Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound following a police chase late Wednesday night, Frisco police say. The 24-year-old's vehicle evaded state troopers during a brief pursuit, officials say, crashing near the team's headquarters. Kneeland fled the scene on foot. During the search, authorities were told Kneeland had expressed suicidal ideations. Dispatch audio indicates Kneeland's girlfriend called police.
She's saying he is armed and has a history of mental illness, and her quote was, "He will end it all."
The audio later reveals he allegedly sent a message to his family.
A group text saying from him saying goodbye, concern for his welfare.
Kneeland played at Western Michigan University. He was in his second season with the Cowboys and just scored his first career touchdown on Monday night. His teammates embracing him in celebration. His cousin tonight remembering him as so much more than a football player.
He was really all about family. He had an infectious smile, a great laugh, just a boisterous personality. Physically, he was a big guy, but talking to him, he was just very humble.
The team and the football world mourning the promising young talent. And Kneeland's image now shines above the plaza here at Cowboys headquarters tonight. The team remembering him as a beloved teammate. His agent saying he poured his heart into every snap and every moment on the field. Tom.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nerd Chronicles, with your host, sociopath nerd Christian Paul speaking. And ladies and gentlemen, tragedy has stricken once again in the National Football League. There happened probably about 3 recent fatalities. 2 of them have been in relation to mental health issues. One of them is basically a former commissioner, but the most recent one that I want to discuss about is a very young player, as I'm looking up through my phone, on the Dallas Cowboys by the name of Marshawn Kneeland. I may have to make sure I get his name right. Marshawn Kneeland, excuse me. He had tragically passed away via self-deletion on a single gunshot wound at the age of 24. While dealing with a police chase. And what we know about the situation, he has a history of mental health issues. And what many of you know, I have Asperger's syndrome. I have autism spectrum disorder. I'm autistic. I have frequent bouts of anxiety and depression. So I can empathize somewhat and come through a little relation on what this young gentleman is going through. Now, I will say from personal experience, and it definitely does vary from person to person in regards with this. Mental health issues, mental health complexities, mental health challenges are very complex, and they vary from person to person. Definitely mental health, basically within people, definitely do matter, especially within men, especially within women. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, especially with men, because a lot of times, most male situations definitely do go untreated, and they actually get taken a little bit lightly, which is very, very unfortunate. And the other hidden factor in regards with this situation is CTE. CTE, for those of you who do not know about what the abbreviation of this means, it's a medical term for chronic traumatic encephalopathy, right? neurodegenerative disease when there were constant hits definitely towards the brain, getting smushed all over the place. You know, it's common in boxing, it's common in MMA, it's common in wrestling, WWE, TNA, All Elite Wrestling, NFL. Also constant in there. In a few cases, it could be definitely soccer. Few cases, it could be basketball. Very rare in those cases because you rarely have barely any contact in regards with that. Anything that actually deals with constant pressure and constant hitting when it comes to the brain, frequent hits towards the brain, that's how CTE can be developed in regards with that, and that can lead to other stress and other mental health issues mainly down the line. So definitely is a lot of questions that need to be asked in regards with the situation. Definitely kickboxing as well. I forgot to actually discuss with that. Rugby also, gridiron. I think I discussed about gridiron football and soccer as well. Basically discussed with that. Domestic violence, another factor. Car crashes, car accidents, they can lead to CTEs as well. Or any type of traumatic accident that comes by that hits the brain, that could fall into that as well. That anybody, and I repeat, anybody could fall victim to. So it's very unfortunate to these young men that actually had, the young man lost his life. Given that nature, you know what I'm saying? I do want to ask a question in the weeks ahead. Basically with the family's permission, like, are they going to give the coroner permission to actually examine his brain and give his brain away to see if possible CTE was definitely there and actually exists around the time of him living? That's basically a big question that needs to be discussed in this. We've seen stuff like this happen with recent player deaths within the NFL. Definitely most famously, Junior Seau, Demaryius Thomas, other historical players that actually dealt with CTE up in the NFL. Doug Martin, who tragically passed recently, the CTE stuff with the NFL, that is in question as well, but it also stems from the mental health issues in regards with that could actually fall with that. As I actually scroll through Wikipedia in regards to the phone that deals with CTE, in regards to that with 164 autopsies, and you see the list that you see down that's post-mortem. And definitely I could go with like the most notable, George Atkinson III, right? And yeah, a lot of historical players that you see down there. Irv Cross, Doug Cunningham, Tom Leone, Shane Dronich, Ray Easterling, Keith Ellison, to name a few. And I can go down the list. Daryl Hammond, Aaron Hernandez, definitely most notably. Jim Houston, Jim Hudson, Vincent Jackson, you know, the forward player for the then San Diego Chargers, now Los Angeles Chargers. You know, he unfortunately tragically passed and was a victim of CTE as well. All right. Terry Long, God rest his soul. Right. I can even go further down the list as well. Isaiah Robertson, Junior Seau, I've actually discussed with that. Bubba Smith, Ken Stabler, another legendary quarterback, right, in the NFL. All right. There's so much I could literally name out about 164 people that have been hit with CTE. Now you got some that are suspected of it. Demaryius Thomas is suspected of it, for example. We won't fully know until the actual coroner actually confirms this. But there's so many examples that they may suspect to have this. Tom Dempsey, another one. O.J. Simpson, possible another one. We don't fully know. And you have former players that are living that have been diagnosed with CTE. If we could go down the list, Antonio Brown, that can possibly have symptoms that are consistent with it. That's one example. George Atkinson, Lance Briggs, Tom Crabtree, Eric Dickerson, possible one. Boomer Esiason, Brett Favre, Steve Gleason, Mark Gastineau, Dwight Harrison. On and on. If I'm looking at this stuff through Wikipedia, where you can find CTE in the NFL, you can type that in there. I'll be able to give you all the answers in regards to that. Michael O'Hare, another one. William Perry, the refrigerator, another one. Antoine Randall L. All right. Warren Sapp. All these examples that I'm actually looking here. Joe Thomas, Kellen Winslow, right? And you got plaintiffs actually dealing with lawsuits in regards to that, like Agil, Eden Albright, Rock Alexander, Eric Allen, Jamal Anderson, some of the names that I have mainly on this list as I actually read through the whole list on Wikipedia that you can find, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll put this on the description whenever I have a chance, once I get everything finalized and once I get everything thoroughly edited in regards with this. So, as I said before, I'm not trying to speculate that, the players that have deceased have it. I'm just asking thorough questions. Hopefully, they'll be able to try to answer it with the fans' permission, should they choose to do so. But regardless of that, I urge everybody, if you have very deep issues in regards to your mental health, speak to a mental health specialist, find some spots or find options, see how you're able to actually try and find it affordable. Speak with your insurance carrier to see what psychologists and mental health specialists are in network if they're not willing to give it to you. If you have the money, go look at the BetterHelp. If you have the money, definitely pay out of pocket to see if that specialist is willing to actually try to help you for an hourly rate. If that's something that's definitely you're willing to afford. All right. Do your due diligence at the very least to start. Start with a mental health specialist to try and figure your issues so they can try and come with solve with a problem together and hopefully come up with a plan. And this is the start, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying it's the all be all, but at the very least, you have like a good starting point on where to go to help basically just strengthen up your mental and strengthen up your psychological being, definitely to start off. All right. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Godspeed to all the families in regards to the recently deceased in the NFL, families and friends. Definitely my deepest condolences go out to Marshawn Kneeland's family, Marshawn Kneeland's friends, the Dallas Cowboys organization, the Dallas Cowboys fans, as well as the people up in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex that support that team. Also, I want to give my condolences to the family and friends of Doug Martin, as well as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization, also in regards to these unfortunate tragedies.
Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer shares an update on Marshawn Kneeland's girlfriend, Catalina Mancera. Nearly a week after the tragic death of the defensive end on November 5th, the Dallas Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer shares during a November 12th press conference that Marshawn's girlfriend, Catalina Mancera, is pregnant and expecting their first child, explaining how the team plans to support the late NFL star's family.
She's pregnant, and so we want to make sure she's taken care of and the baby's taken care of for the rest of their lives. Our guys it's very important to them and to us. The organization have been amazing. We've started the Marshawn Kneeland Memorial Fund where we can all give and support Catalina.
In a Facebook post on November 10th, Catalina also broke her silence on the tragic loss, sharing a photo of herself and Marshawn, writing in the caption, "My sweet baby, words can never express how broken I feel. You're my everything. I'll love you forever, my beautiful angel." This news comes after the Cowboys released a November 6th statement on X confirming the 24-year-old's death, writing, "Marshawn was a beloved teammate and member of our organization. Our thoughts and prayers regarding Marshawn are with his girlfriend Catalina and his family." His death came just days after he scored his first career touchdown in the Cowboys' November 3rd game against the Arizona Cardinals. Frisco, Texas police confirmed to NBC News on November 6th that the athlete was found dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound after evading authorities, crashing a car, and fleeing on foot. A statement from the Frisco Police Department says that the case and manner of death will be determined by the Collin County Medical Examiner's Office, and that police are investigating the case as a possible suicide.